It's time to catch up on how the hawthorn seed are getting on from last year. It's now October 2014 and these are the seed that we collected in 2013 in Cornwall. And the seed have been resting, storing in this sharp sand for just over a year now, and they've been dormant for that whole time. We've been keeping them moist. Every time it's rained, the holes in the lid have allowed the water to drain through, keep them moist. So now what we have, these hard little seeds that should be ready to germinate next spring. So they'll go in the ground sometime early next spring and they'll begin to grow in 2015. So that's a year and a half after they've been collected. We've also had a bit of success with these sweet chestnut here. They've germinated quite nicely. Here's one of the empty shells that they've grown from. Also there are a few hazel over here which have grown quite well. You can see the nutshell that they've grown from here. So they split the nut in two as they germinate, and they'll be ready to be lined out in my little tree nursery at some point, fairly soon during the winter perhaps. What I want to look at now though is this quite a special local tree to Devon. This is called the Devon Whitebeam, and these little fruits, each one looks a little like a small apple, and you could process the seed by squeezing each one individually by hand. In there you'll find a couple of shiny brown seeds, and these should germinate within the year, probably next spring, but that's a fairly laborious task to go through all of those. So what we'll do is mash them in a similar way to the hawthorn that we extracted from the berries last year. And this is a particularly interesting tree to the area of the country because, being Devon Whitebeam, it only tends to grow around the southwest of England and a few parts of Wales and Ireland as well. So it's one that's worth protecting, so I'm interested to try and grow a few. So now the whitebeam berries have been mashed, and you can see floating on the top of the water there a lot of seeds, but sadly those seeds are non-viable. The seed won't have developed inside the seed casing. So anything that's floating is likely to be soft and there won't be any full seed in there. So the seed we want are down in the bottom of the bucket, in amongst all the mashed up fruit there. So let's see if I can pour off all the fruit mash using the sieve over here. And we'll separate out the decent seed and store them for next year. So having poured off the last of the water and removed the pulp, we've got a few Devon Whitebeam seeds there. It looks like around 30 or 40 seeds, which doesn't seem like a great return from all those berries we had, but at least we know these are likely to be viable and there should be a very high germination rate from these seeds. So I'm going to store them now in the sharp sand for the next winter in a container, such as that one with holes in the lid and in the base, and that should allow the rain to drain through, and the seeds will then be able to germinate in the spring. Then I'll plant them out and we'll see how they grow. So next time hopefully we shall see some hawthorn and some Devon Whitebeam growing in my little tree nursery. Okay.